Big game, big winner, big savings with Premier Heating and Air. Whether you're preparing for the biggest game of the year or the world's biggest winter competition, make sure your HVAC system is prepared as well. Get a $1,500 rebate and $400 system upgrade with the purchase of a new HVAC system from Premier Heating and Air. Experience a premier difference today. Get a gas heat checkup with a free co-monitor for only $69. Heat pump checkup with the first pound of Freon if needed, only $69. Get a free second opinion or a free new unit estimate when you call Premier Heating and Air or log on to premierishere.com. Experience the premier difference today. Locally owned and operated. Offer expires February 28, 2026.
Hey everybody, my name is Liz Green, Director of Marketing and Communications here at Fairview Park Hospital, and we are excited to be here to talk a little bit about what 2025 looked like for Fairview and what we can expect going forward. So first, I want to introduce Brad Griffin. A lot of you have probably already met him or seen him either on social media or in the community, but he is our relatively new CEO. So I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself, tell himself. He has a little bit of a history with Fairview previously and has had some exciting journeys since then. So I'll let him do a little bit of talking about that.
Great. Thanks, Liz. Good morning or good afternoon. I don't know. But thanks, Liz. My name is Brad Griffin. I am the CEO here at Fairview Park Hospital. This is my second go-round at Fairview. I worked here for about 5 years in the early 2000s. But being from Macon, this is a return home for me. And I've got a lot of fond memories of Fairview Park and the people in the community here. So totally excited to be back and be part of this community once again.
Yeah, we were really excited when we knew that we had to start the transition. We had heard a lot about Brad. A lot of us newbies who weren't here when he was here had heard a lot, and we were like, we just don't know if he will ever come back to Dublin, but he did. So we're happy that you did. It's been a great transition, I think, creating a great culture. So we'll talk a little bit about 2025. There were a lot of projects that we had started in 2024 that we knew the lion's share was going to happen in 2025, the grand openings. One of those being the ICU expansion, third floor renovation, and then also the rehab expansion. So I'll kind of toss it over to you. The ICU project was a really long project that we tried to keep the community looped in on because we knew it was going to be loud, noisy, but that it was going to have a great payoff. So that ended up being a $10.2 million investment locally by HCA. So can you talk a little bit about what the impact of adding 8 beds to a rural ICU has?
Yeah, so any type of construction in a hospital setting is difficult to do. We are a business that never stops and really never slows down, so construction can be challenging. But this hospital has performed so well through the years. We are seeing patients come and choose Fairview for their health care in greater numbers than we ever have before. And so we have run into the challenge of having enough capacity for everybody that's coming to us. So we are fortunate to be part of HCA Healthcare that helps fund some of those construction projects. And so in doing that, we were able to add capacity to the hospital over last year. These are projects that had started a couple years ago under the previous administration and gave us the ability to not only renovate the floors, but add beds such as ICU beds. So for us, that gives us the ability to take care of patients more efficiently. It keeps us open to accepting transfers from patients in the surrounding communities more than we have been able to do in the past. So overall, a really big deal for patients. It also gives the hospital the opportunity to add positions and hire more people and grow in that sense too, which has a benefit for the community as well.
Yeah, and we've kind of coined, and a lot of the community has actually calling ourselves a regional referral hospital because it's kind of also a unicorn to have a hospital that sits somewhere that we do geographically but operates not like a rural hospital. We have a lot of service lines that are really valuable to this community and the surrounding areas. So You know, $10.2 million sounds really impressive, but knowing the impact it has, ever since COVID, there's pretty much not a day that we don't hear about people needing a bed to get up to the ICU. So being able to add 50% capacity to that ICU is huge, because it means patients get seen faster, and they don't have to, you know, it's more comfortable rather than having to wait on that bed. So I think that's really impactful. And then also we completed, that's on our third floor, but also the rest of our third floor was lacking aesthetically. We've done a lot across the hospital as far as simple things, paint that really needed a refresh, just, you know, updated fixtures to make us look a little bit more pleasing throughout. So that's something we invested in. That was over a few $100,000. And also something that was important, that may not feel important, is all of those showers changed to walk-in, which is huge for patient safety, because these are people that are recovering and probably don't need to be stepping over the lip of a shower. So I don't know if you have anything you want to speak to, but the third floor overall really just looks super nice, and I think the staff are really pleased with it.
Yeah, I mean, when you do have to go to a hospital, it is nice for it to be as comfortable as possible. Obviously, you want to get well quickly, but you want to be in an environment that is comfortable, that is pleasing, that's clean, and we've been able to achieve that with our renovation projects that we've had over the past few years. I think in total, we're now at almost $40 million over the last 5 years invested back in this facility through bed expansions, renovations, an ER expansion, added beds to inpatient rehab on our 5th floor, which is a great service line for those patients who need additional therapy after their acute care stay at the hospital. So, you know, great investment in the community, jobs added, good-looking facility, just fortunate for this area to be part of a hospital system and company that has the ability to do that.
Yeah, and it's, I think we're seeing even more now. It's always been, you know, research and data driven that care received closest to home is best, because you have family support, not as much travel. Patients don't feel like they're on an island away from their family, and just that right there increases the statistics for how quickly and efficiently patients are getting, you know, discharged out of the hospital.
That's a great point. You know, healthcare is difficult to navigate anyway. And when you're having to do it in an area where you don't know anybody or don't have the relationships that you do in your local towns, it can make it even that much more difficult.
Yeah. And then our last big project that we've recently closed up is our inpatient rehab expansion, which is also a really big deal because if you don't know, our inpatient rehab acts like a hospital inside of a hospital. So they kind of run their own operation on the 5th floor, but they have so many impactful stories that come out. If you don't know, this is a lot of our people who have had traumatic accidents, who are having to relearn how to eat, get in and out of a bed, get into a car. And these therapists, I mean, there's not a time that we don't have a 5-star review on these therapists, just because they are meeting those patients there in probably their most vulnerable, emotional, and worst times. Because if you can imagine going from being fully functional to not being able to go to the restroom by yourself, there's a lot of what you feel like might be lost dignity there. Mm-hmm. But our 5th floor does a fantastic job of helping those patients where they are and getting them back to a regular life as quickly as possible. So we added 5 beds to that, which is really remarkable, because we have become really a place that a lot of patients throughout Georgia and even Alabama sometimes want to come here to receive that care.
Yeah, absolutely. A great team up on the 5th floor, led by a great physician, Dr. Don Nelson, to deliver that care that patients need after their acute care stay in the hospital. And to your point, even when patients have to go to other towns for treatment that maybe we can't offer here at Fairview, we're able to bring them back home into our inpatient rehab facility for that additional therapy and care, with the goal of returning them back to the same level of function that they had before they entered the hospital. And there's great stories that come out of our inpatient rehab department. Not only do they do physical therapy, but occupational therapy, where they're teaching you how to do those activities of daily living that you use every day in your home, to speech therapy. It's really just a great service to be able to add here locally that treats hundreds of patients each year, and again, very fortunate to have that be part of our hospital system.
Yeah, those stories are really impactful, and a lot of them that we like to highlight on social media. People walking out who are rolled in, and it's they do a lot of awesome work up there. Yeah, so that wraps up kind of our investment that we've looked at for the year of 2025. But I really think something that we've mentioned it already, but something that the community might not understand is, being a part of HCA is really gives us such a leg up as far as a lot of these projects rural hospitals just can't fund on their own. And to have a parent company that looks and sees the work that you're doing and invests in communities like this is, I think, can be underappreciated or misunderstood, or really people might not even realize how much of an impact that has locally.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a tremendous resource for this facility. This hospital was built by HCA, opened in the early 1980s, and has really done nothing but grow and flourish since that time. So, it's a great relationship to have, and we look forward to asking for future investments as we continue to grow and need services and positions and space to do that with.
Yeah.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. As the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S., they offer the versatility and reliability to get the job done right all year round. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment with 0% financing available, or save up to $2,500.
Products you can count on, a name you can trust. That's Midstate Tractor and Equipment.
Okay, so next I thought we could talk about some of the recognitions and awards that we've gotten. Fairview really does historically a great job in that arena, as far as HCA again holds us to some really high standards as far as quality, which is great for our local and families and the communities around us, because that means that you're receiving really great care when you're here, and people that are looking past the bedside and looking at the statistics of what's best for our patients in that way. So we have some awards that we typically get and some that are newer. So I thought that we could talk about first the Leapfrog A. This is something that you probably see us post about quite a bit because they come out throughout the year. But you want to talk a little bit about Leapfrog A?
Sure. I think, two things about staying in a hospital. One, we want you to have a good experience when you have to come to the hospital. We know it's a difficult time, but we're here to help navigate that. But also, you want to have a good quality outcome when you come to the hospital. You want to get better. You want to be able to go back home quickly and hopefully in the same or better shape that you came to the hospital. And one of those, so quality is very important to what we do, and we strive to achieve recognition in the quality and safety world. And one of those recognitions is from the Leapfrog Group, which is an independent organization that evaluates hospitals for their safety. And they give you a letter grade, and this is publicly reported information that you can go out on the internet and look up the facilities that are closest to you that you go to and see what their safety ratings are. And Fairview has achieved another A, and it's something like 12 quarters in a row that this hospital has achieved that. So we take quality and safety seriously for our patients, and that's just a basic expectation of us for when you come to the hospital.
Yeah, and something I didn't mention is we have a team of clinical staff, actually our quality team, that they are set aside just to drive those quality metrics and making sure that our patients are receiving the safest and most effective and timely care. So they really are to be applauded for really educating our staff and leading that cause, because it's so important. I mean, you can't get better in a hospital if you come somewhere where there's not super high standards. I mean, that's the whole point. And also to mention, we do not, some of these, not these, but some awards and recognitions you can pay for. None of these are associated with any kind of pay to be rated. So this is all done, like he said, independently, and something that has no bias, because there's no price tag associated with it. But another one that I think is pretty remarkable is we were named top medium-sized hospital by Georgia Trend. Feels like a pretty big deal. I remember when it came out last year, it's the first time I got to report on it, and it was a really big deal locally. I mean, it makes our staff feel really proud to be recognized that way. So we got it again this year.
Yeah, and they should be proud. I mean, this is a great hospital with really strong clinicians that work as a team to improve healthcare in the communities that we live. And I think the recognition is nice and to do it. I think this is the second time in a row that we've achieved that with Georgia Trend, and it's something to be very proud of.
Yeah. And then just to name some of the other ones, we were named a top 100 rural and community hospital by Chartis. That's always been a really big deal, just because of, being a rural hospital, you have to have those access points so that people, whether it's a trauma or if they just need an elective surgery or something that they weren't expecting, being able to get to a hospital quickly and receive that care without having to be transferred out is really important to, obviously, these small communities around us. And even if you do have to be transferred out, being able to receive the on-site care that you need until you get to the level of care that you truly have to have at the end of the day is important.
I mean, there's definitely some challenging aspects of being a rural hospital, and many of our peers and colleagues in the same situation and classification that we are in deal with the same challenges. We play by the same rules as hospitals in bigger cities do. We just do it with less resources. And so to achieve these recognitions is really important, but I think it also says a lot to the people that work in the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the last two are HealthGrade's Patient Safety Excellence Award and HealthGrade's Outstanding Patient Experience Award, which is another thing that the community may not realize, but we measure what our patients think of us regularly through feedback, ratings, surveys. That's something that we are also held to a very high standard. So to receive, a lot of times when you're trying to meet those expectations and do it to the best of your ability, it can feel like a crawl a lot of times, just because you have so many patients coming in and out. But when you see something like a HealthGrade's Outstanding Patient Experience Award, it really kind of validates this is why, like, other people notice that we are trying to create the best experience holistically if you come to the hospital.
It absolutely does. I mean, quality is definitely a basic expectation, but your experience, how you are treated, how you're communicated with while you're in the hospital, these are just as important. What the room looks like, is it clean? Is it taken care of on a daily basis? All of these things are important too, and you're right. We talk about it multiple times a day, every single day, to make sure not only are our patients getting better quickly, but they're having a good experience when they come to the hospital.
Absolutely.
When someone says the word bank, what comes to mind? For most folks, it's probably money or loans. Maybe it's false. The problem is, these are all just things. And a bank is not a collection of things. A bank is a collection of stories. If you've been around long enough, you've heard one of us say, "It pays to bank blue." The hero of our story is you. Every home bought, every business opened, every dream secured has been your story. We've just had a front row seat, and we can't wait to see what you do next.
Okay, and lastly, I think something, this is probably something that community is a lot more aware about, is Fairview is very heavily involved in community investment and community outreach. We try to make ourselves like a partner that always tries to say yes if we can, because we realize that a lot of our local nonprofits and a lot of these events that are so true to Dublin and the surrounding communities can't do it without those larger industries that come in and help support it. So we have countless opportunities throughout the year for our employees to get involved, whether that be through donations or actually getting out and volunteering. So we can highlight some stuff. We had another successful summer youth volunteer program that has really come back since COVID, and I think it's refreshing to see a lot of these students walking through the hospital.
It's great, and it's a great program to have. It is really neat to see students who may go off and get trained and come back and work at the hospital later and hear their stories of how it all started with those programs.
Yeah, and there are some, I will say, to encourage our youth and our college folks, if you're thinking about healthcare but aren't really sure, it's a great opportunity to get into the healthcare setting and to be able to work alongside nurses, physicians, and get some hands-on experience. And there are some people who say this is for me, and there are some people who leave saying this is definitely not for me, but I had a great time doing it.
That's true.
And I think that's just as valuable, because you get to college and you realize that might not be the avenue that you want to take. And I think that's valuable experience to have before getting there and taking a year and a half to figure that out.
I do. I think there's a lot of people also that don't realize that there is a clinical side to what the hospital does. There's also a non-clinical side to what the hospital does. So career opportunities are immense within a hospital setting.
Yes, that's something I think also a lot of our volunteers have come out there like, I didn't know you had accounting departments. You have lab department that are still clinical, but they don't have to do hands-on. The hospital is really kind of like its own little town in a building, and you don't realize that until you get inside of it and work here or volunteer. And then another thing that we do each year is we have a canned food sculpture contest, which is pretty interesting, but it's another way that HCA encourages us. They put a huge emphasis on giving back to the community, hands-on volunteer, and donating to those in need. And so each year HCA has a canned food sculpture competition. So our employees have to donate canned food goods, and then we are charged with coming up with a creative sculpture and hoping that it stands for that month. Right. And they actually award the winners with $15,000 to go to a local food bank, so that they can supply those needs. Last year we won. This year we didn't, but we put up a noble fight. But I think it's good to give employees, nurses they really are busy. They have a huge, load, and they're doing such, intricate care that a lot of times it's hard to leave the campus when we're doing those outreach. That's a little bit more hands-on. So I think it's giving those employees an opportunity to still be involved by bringing donations is important, because then you reach the whole of the employees.
Yeah, healthcare is a challenging field, yet rewarding field to be in. There's a lot of pressures and stress that go along with it, but what we do outside of our jobs and how we participate in the community is as important as what we do in the community and or in the hospital setting. So we encourage our staff to get involved and participate, and we do as an organization too, and lead that charge, not only financially but also through participating with hours and getting involved with our hands and helping out as much as we can.
Yeah. So that actually ended up being 600 pounds of canned goods donated, and then this was Brad's first backpack of blessings, which I think he was like, whoa, because we told him about it. If you don't know, I'm sure our community knows, our employees donate funds and materials for 600 backpacks to be packed full of school supplies, and then our cafeteria donates hot meals and drinks and free snow biz for kids in need who need a backpack and might have a harder time getting those supplies. So we had told Brad about it. He was like, cool, let's go. And then that morning he saw that people were starting to line up, 600 folks. But it's really impactful to see kids come out and, being able to connect with people who need something that you're able to supply is really special. It can create the human side of the healthcare world in a way that you don't have to be lying in a hospital bed for us to connect with you. We're all humans out here trying to make it, and to be able to come alongside families in that way, I think is really important too.
It's such a great event that is touches a lot of lives, and let's face it, our children, our education system are very important to what we do as a hospital setting as well too. So anything that we can do to participate and help is a great use of our time and efforts to do that. And it was a tremendous event and a great day.
Yeah. And along with that, we really try to put an emphasis on partnering with our local literacy program because, statistics say that, if you can't read on a second grade level by a certain time, your chances of being successful go, down a lot. So any way that we're able to promote literacy and get books into the home is something that we're really passionate about also. And then probably the biggest emphasis that HCA put on volunteerism this year was our We Show Up campaign. This was something that HCA said, you're going to put on an HCA shirt so they know we're all part of a family, and we're going to get out into the community so they see us doing hands-on work, because that's important, as we've said so many times today, in a rural community to give back. So we actually went to our Walmart. We all purchased food for the local Boys and Girls Club. If you don't know, they see hundreds of kids each day, and those kids get free snack and drinks and playtime and help with homework. And a lot of times that group of kids are the demographic that might be underserved, that really need that time and those resources, that food before they go home. So we were able to donate over $3,000 of food, and you could tell that it was something that was very important to them, because they were like, this is going to get us through the summer. So knowing that one day, what we were able to do in one day was able to impact a local organization.
Yeah. We partner with the Boys and Girls Club. They're such a great organization, and what they do for kids in our community by providing that after school hours, support for families is real important, and we're happy to.
And helps a lot of our employees, actually.
Helps a lot of us too,
Yeah. So that is kind of an overview of what we've done this year, what we've accomplished as far as investments, the recognitions that we've received, and the community impact. And obviously there's a lot coming in 2026. I think obviously with all these expansions and already being at capacity, it proves that our hospital has a footprint here in the healthcare world, not only in our community but in Middle Georgia. So is there anything you want to say about 2026 and the years to come?
Yeah, sure thing. I am, again, like I said, I'm excited to be back. I think this hospital has tremendous potential for the community as we grow to meet the needs that are also growing in our community, and we look forward to sharing new events and successes that we're able to achieve throughout the year, hopefully very soon.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on with me to talk about 2025, 2026. We hope that our community knows that we're always here to not only support you in the realm of healthcare, but also in giving back to the community. And we are excited to a good 2026 and what's to come in the future.